welcome to the Mother May I podcast with Frank and Irene on Strong Island Entertainment. Gee, I hope I didn't make a mistake with these two. They promised me they'd bring in some really good guests. Well, anyway, here's Frank and Irene.
Well, hello, everybody. Hi. Hello. Hey. Looking good, Mr. Conniff.
You're looking sensational, as always.
Well, I have to say that I wore this for you, Frank, and I'm not even going to try to hide the fact that I did. Just the way it is.
You know what a geek I am, so wearing a Superman.
I know you like a good, solid cosplay, so I'm half in.
I do.
I'm half in.
I'm loving it.
So here we are again, Frank. This is Mother May I podcast with Mr. Frank Conniff, and I am Irene Bremis. I'm sorry, my setting is a little less refined than yours, Frank. I have to say, I feel like you put a little bit more into the production value of this show already.
Well, I'm in Manhattan, and we're much more glamour conscious than you guys are out in Staten Island.
That's all you had to say. I'm in Manhattan. We could have stopped there. Everything else is so interesting. So we're back, season 2, our inaugural show, kicking it off hardcore with one of our favorite people in the world, right? We're bringing back our magnanimous show. Well, I don't know if we can call it magnanimous, but we're bringing back the show.
It's at least it's not magnanimous. That's the one thing it can't be.
That's the one thing it'll never be, honestly. And don't get mad at us, okay? All right. So normally, this is interesting. Normally we have more of a schizophrenic format for our show, Frank, because we love to talk and we stray in different directions. We're sort of like trying to be a little more structured. So now we're taking Prozac for our show. So again, though, I want everybody to sort of keep their expectations low. This way you'll be delighted with the outcome. So Frank, I haven't seen you for a while. I miss you.
I know, I miss you too.
So what have you been doing?
Not much. I don't know what's came over me recently, but I just don't go out that much anymore. I haven't been to any bars or restaurants or movie theaters, or just been kicking back, staying at home.
Yeah, Millie. I love Millie.
Hanging out. And I'm just living my best pandemic life. What can I tell you? We're in the second year of it now,
It's so crazy.
People are exhausted. And, all we can do is move forward and keep reminding ourselves here in New York, at least, that we have a governor that sucks ass. So.
Oh, yeah. You know what? It used to be de Blasio that united us in our hatred for him. Now he's got a little competition with Cuomo. It is true.
Right. And de Blasio is still really awful, but Cuomo is bad. And there's a mayor's race is starting. I don't know how to quite say mayoral, so I said mayor's race.
Mayoral is a handful. It really is. But the main thing is that Stacey Pressman is running. But that's
I know. She's a friend of ours. And that's
she is.
I think that means I'm supporting her because I know her and I like her. And Andrew Yang is running. He doesn't. I don't know if you saw his campaign slogan, elect me even though I don't know what a fucking bodega is. That's kind of an interesting approach. But I'm not that excited about him. But on the other hand, I voted for de Blasio. So what the fuck do I know?
Yeah, see, now I can honestly say, and I feel good about this, I feel like I really stuck to my guns. I did not vote for de Blasio. I voted for that one guy. Sadly, I don't remember what his name is, but he was the one guy that was a filmmaker. He did this documentary on homelessness.
Oh yeah, I can totally see that.
Right. So I did. He's a step further. De Blasio is doing nothing about homelessness. This man is actually putting a spotlight by making a documentary about homelessness. So I thought that was a step in the right direction. So a lot of crazy stuff going on. I had a show that I was supposed to do via Zoom in Texas, and it was canceled because the deep freeze in Texas, but then again, climate change is a hoax. Deep freeze, they got all their power outage knocked out. You heard about that, right?
Yeah, and I just saw that somebody posted a bunch of tweets that like Ted Cruz and all of these Texas politicians posted last year when California lost a lot of its power, And they said, "Oh, this is what happens when Democrats are in power," and now they're in the same boat now.
Exactly. That's right.
I wish that boat would sink, to tell you the truth.
I wish that boat would sink too. Ted Cruz, there is no such thing as a deep freeze because that bitch is so frozen already. He really is. He's absolutely ridiculous. So I'll tell you what's been going on here. And this reminded me of you on Staten Island. I've been sitting here during the pandemic, nothing to do. We're all on Zoom. We're all losing our minds. I mean, thank God we have social media and certain things like that. But then there's that flip side where we're not doing face to face. And, we all want to get back to life, but it's not time. So we don't want to get Fauci. Did you hear about the new saying? It's like ghosted, but it's Fauci'd. If you're not adhering to the 6 foot distance rules, you're being Fauci'd. That's the new.
Oh, okay. The one that I heard that I like is they just describing the vaccination shot as a Fauci ouchie. It's the stupidest thing I ever heard, and I love it.
That sounds like a Fauci ouchie. Now, see, I didn't hear about that one, but I did hear about the vaccination dumpster diving, which when we bring on our guest, we'll definitely talk about that. I'm going to introduce her in just about 1 second or when she gets in the studio. But let me tell you what I did, Frank. We have a family of kittens here and a cat. We call it.
Really?
Yeah, we do. It's the saddest thing. During the snowstorm, I saw one of the kittens fall into the snow and it couldn't get out. It was absolutely traumatizing, So Steve actually built a little cooler for her. He's a welder. He took a cooler, he welded in a little hole so she can come in. And then his friend came over and saw it and was like, "Isn't that my cooler?" I was kind of wanting that back. I'm like, oh shit. All right. So on that note, I see that our guest is here. Let me tell you something. I love this woman, Frank. I know you love this woman. Multi-talented. I can't possibly start listing all her talent. Comedian, she's an actress, she's a writer, she's extraordinary, she's amazing, and we roped her into this show. I'd like to welcome Marina Franklin, everybody. Marina,
hello.
You look so beautiful.
Thank you. You forgot to mention she's single.
Oh,
all right.
And her kick-ass special, if you haven't seen it, single Black female, so funny, so brilliant, and I love you, Marina. Thank you for joining us, sweetheart.
Well, thank you for having me, which is the correct response on Zoom and all these StreamYard. And, it's so funny because I keep watching how everyone goes, "Thank you for having me." But I really mean it.
I know you do. And that's why I love you. I've known Marina, Frank. I've known Marina now for 20 years.
Oh, did you guys meet doing stand-up?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Yes, Irene went to this Zinc Bar show in the basement, and
Hysteria, baby,
Hysteria, and she had this like funny.
Everybody loved you, Marina.
You had this funny cartoon drawn of you as in front of the flyer, and so we would go down there, and I think afterwards we would go and party too. It was fun.
Sounds like fun. I miss doing shows, and I miss hanging out with everybody after the show. Almost as much,
bonding. You're right, Frank. It was like, I remember it was me, Marina, Rachel Feinstein, and Cynthia Levin, Rena Zager, and
I love those people. I know Cynthia and Rena. I knew them in LA. They were good friends of mine out there.
Yeah, and it was such a bonding time. I miss those times. I really do. Mm-hmm. Well, Marina, thank you so much for, I was just about to start talking about this whole vaccination dumpster diving. Have you heard about this?
No, I haven't.
It's basically because so many, Frank, have you heard about that?
I'm familiar with dumpster diving. It's called my career. But the vaccination dumpster diving, I'm not quite as caught up on.
Okay, so basically, what the vaccination dumpster diving is that there's so many shots that are going to waste. It's awful. Okay, so what's happening is that people are just showing up at clinics or wherever they're administering the shots, and they're waiting in line to see if there are any leftovers, and they're slamming that right into their arms instead of it being slammed into the garbage.
Oh,
yeah.
I did. Now that I think of it, I did do that. But I just took the vaccine and put it in a styrofoam container and put it in my refrigerator for later,
For later. You don't want to have it all at once.
Yeah, exactly.
So how are we feeling about the vaccine, Marina?
Well, I mean, one about that with the extras, there's a little bit of, I'm pretty annoyed with it because I got a text from a friend that was like, go over to my dentist house. He has extras. And I was like, what? Like, this whole, like, who's on the inside, who's got the inside scoop, and it's almost like you're waiting out loud outside a dance club and you're not in the VIP section.
Great point.
It's like the guy at the door is looking to see who should get in, basically. Right. And it's very frustrating. And on top of that, the amount of Black individuals, Latino individuals, just the disparity, like what happened to all of this care for the disparity of people actually dying from the vaccine? What happened to that? And I hate these articles that only focus on the fear that the Black community has for the vaccine. You have to go into the why. You have to go into why they don't trust, but you also have to explain that they also don't have access to the vaccine and why that is. Yeah. I believe all you have to do is knock on someone's door. I mean, we do the census like that. I don't know where the bureaucracy is where they say you can't, but I feel like this is an emergency. Is it not?
Oh, of course it is. It's a pandemic. I don't know how much more emergency we get. Marina, I love you. You're so right for what you just said. Well stated, friend.
Yes,
well stated.
Absolutely.
By the way, that's gray hair.
Nowhere. You have nothing.
That's gray hair. That's not
brought it up. I was combing my hair this morning. I found a gray hair. It's a little disturbing.
Oh God, that is
I'm getting on in years. And by the way, my sister told me that I qualify to get the vaccine now because they're letting people with underlying conditions.
Yeah, good luck. Now. I tried all before.
Yeah, I went to the one website I went to. It said not available. So
what? TurboVax? You guys hear about TurboVax? That's a really good.
No.
I've seen TurboVax, but it doesn't. Everyone knows about it now. I mean, you're talking about 50 million people trying to get a vaccine online.
Yeah,
it's not the proper way to do this. First of all, who? Not everyone has a computer. Hello.
Hello.
75 years up, and I'm also eligible.
My mother and my brother don't have a computer. They don't have a computer in the house, And now my sister has a computer, but before that she was struggling and she just got a computer. So you're right. Not everybody has a computer
or knows how to work it. I mean, you could be like, who doesn't have a computer? A lot of people actually don't have the money to afford and don't even know how to navigate. I am computer savvy and I couldn't navigate it this morning.
Yeah, it's so overwhelming when you have to go to a website, anything involving the government, whether it's to figure out when to go to the DMV or no matter what it is, when you go to a website, it just makes you lose all hope for
it really does. It's so they just love to befuddle everybody, and you can never find the straight line how to get anything done. It's so true. And Marina,
I'm gonna get dressed up. Okay, I'm gonna get dressed up like Oprah, and I'm gonna show up, and I'm gonna assume they don't know Black people very well, and just be like, I'm Oprah Winfrey. Let her in. Anything to get in.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go to the back entrance for the vaccine, and I'm gonna dress very provocatively, and I'm gonna try to present myself as a groupie for the vaccine.
What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take a sledgehammer to my arm. I'm gonna be bleeding out, but it'll be worth it. It'll be this arm that'll get the vaccine in. The things that here's the thing, Marina, to your point though, I had a friend during this whole, before we were trying to get access to testing. And she, I had to wait in line. We all had to, and you're saying like the poor communities, people of color. You know, it's so unfair. They're not putting out the vaccines. They're also not getting testing out. But during this time, I was trying to just get a test and I couldn't. And because she knew somebody who is very wealthy, she had all these testing kits in her access to all these testing kits in her own home. And she was testing herself.
It's almost as if the wealthy get a leg up on everything in our society. That's who knew.
Yeah, I know. Who knew, Frank? Exactly. Who knew?
I talked to someone who said they were going to just say they were in a nursing home. I was like, and we're still talking? Like, I still know you? Like, I should hang out right now.
Lie about this?
It's like test your consciousness about this stuff.
Really. I know. At first, and you know, even with this vaccine dumpster diving, that's a really good point. I was very apprehensive because I'm like, are you guys making an appointment now for real? Like, even if you say you're waiting, are you still making an appointment? Are you taking it away from somebody vulnerable? Yes. I was very concerned about that. We don't want to take it away from somebody vulnerable. But apparently what's going on, these vaccines are either going to go in the garbage or you can be on standby and you can get one, but it's chaotic. It shouldn't be this hard. It really honestly shouldn't be.
If it's going to go in the garbage, then go to people who really need it still.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it too is that, the whole effort to make any of this happen only started last month. You know, we had months where we had an administration that, you know,
didn't give a shit.
Willfully didn't give a shit and didn't do anything. So it's a really bad situation.
It is a bad situation. Okay, so let's start off with that. Let's segue into our topic for Trump acquitted twice now. Ladies and gents, what saith you to that horseshit?
Wait, he got acquitted?
By the Senate, yes.
By the Senate, no, I mean, yeah. I know. I'm just saying, I don't think any of us, I think we could have done this like 2 weeks ago, the same way. And it would be like the same thing. No one is surprised. But the disappointment is in watching the Republicans retract. Like after he was acquitted, Mitch McConnell saying like, there's no doubt that he was responsible for this. And then this little like disclaimer, oh, you can't really, you know, convict a president when he's out of office, which just says, no, you're just worried about your own ass.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And it's always been the case though, Marina. Good point. And always been the case. Frank?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to come out against Trump. I know that sounds shocking, but it's just I just want him to go away. I'm like kind of selfish about this whole thing because like there was a lot of outrage, and I think justifiably that the Democrats didn't pursue having witnesses.
Yes, that's right.
But my attitude was like, if they had witnesses, that would mean the trial would still be going on this week, and all they'd be doing is talking about it on cable news. And I just want it all to go away. I'm like Jesus. I'm tired of whether it's the news media obsessing about the monster that they created, that they're responsible for. Now they're all outraged about how awful he is, and they're the ones who gave him a forum and promoted him. I just want everybody to focus on anything but Trump at this point.
Yeah, I agree. You're right. I'm like, I've been focused on hating Trump for the past 4 years, and now I can focus on hating myself again. You know what I mean? I think we need to redirect that focus.
Yeah. And, I mean, we can all hope that, that the courts do their job and that he gets convicted and indicted. But I'm not putting any bets on any of that happening. I mean, with Trump, you just can't expect that justice is going to be served with him.
So what do you think about the 2024 him running again?
Well, I think, it's I've seen people say, oh, come on, he's not going to run. He could never win in 2024. You know what? That's what everybody said in 2016. If he runs for the Republican nomination, it's his for the asking. They'll give it to him in a second on a silver platter. that also has lines of coke for Eric Jr.
Marina, what do you think? Do you think he has a shot in hell if he runs again in 2024?
I don't know. I mean, he is running as a loser, and Republicans like to get behind winners.
Right.
So
but he's also a MAGA martyr.
But that's only to those who are in the Republican Party who believe in that. I mean, there are segments of, defining the whole Republican Party as just MAGA martyrs or ANI, I can't even say that, QAnon or whatever people.
Right, no.
They're not all that.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So you have actual people who are Republicans who are very disappointed. So you've got to continue this monologue that he is a loser and that he did try to get people killed. Yeah. And so that's how you have, if I could just finish. So if that's why it was important to actually do the trial, and that's why it's kind of important to still talk about it in that sense, so that we remind people of who this person is. Because I feel like if we don't keep talking about what he did and who he is, then they'll forget why we can't have him in office.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. But I'd also say
great point.
Thank you. I make really good points.
You certainly do. That the media's culpability in all this, though, is really undermining what you're saying, because all of the senators who supported the insurrection, who were his accomplices in getting people killed, are still welcomed on Meet the Press and on CNN, and are still asked their opinions about issues like that's just the other side. There's the liberals on this side and the insurrectionists on the other side, and we have to hear what the people who wanted to overthrow our country, what's their point of view. Let's get the media for the entirety of Trump has been normalizing him and normalizing all of his extremist, racist, sexist, authoritarian views, and it's now all considered normal now, and that's very destructive, I think.
Right, you're absolutely right. He's despotic. Everybody's normalizing everything he's been saying since the beginning of his presidency. What did he say? I can go right up to Fifth Avenue and shoot something, and there will be no repercussions.
He was right about that.
I can get away with it. Yeah,
he was right about that. But he began his campaign on a racist lie that Barack Obama wasn't born in America.
That's right, the birther. Yep.
He did it like even years before he ran for president, and then when he ran for president, when he was interviewed about it, he said, "Oh, I don't want to talk about that anymore." And the press was like, "Oh, okay, let's move on." So we moved on from that, and now there's all this outrage about how racist he was, but we've known who Donald Trump is since 1973 was the first time he was written about. And the first time Donald Trump's name was mentioned in the New York Times was 1973. And it was about him and his dad and a housing discrimination suit brought against them by the Justice Department, where they weren't letting Black people rent their apartments. That's right. The first story ever about Donald Trump in the media. And
you could throw Ronald Reagan in there too. It's okay.
And that's okay. You can throw him in there.
and Ronald McDonald while we're at it.
Yeah, sure.
Racist fuck.
Don't stop yourself, sweetie. You're on a roll.
He's abusing the Hamburglar. But anyway, so it's just crazy to me. All these people who promoted Trump and gave him a forum and aired his speeches uninterrupted, which had never been done before, allowed him to do phoner interviews on news shows, which had never been done before. They just built him up. And now they're like, oh, you know what? He's a racist. It's been known. That's been known for like 50 years now.
That's right. That's been known for 50 years. This precedes his presidency, starting with his dad, Fred Trump. So the history is long and hard.
But we can't forget that he is still Kanye's friend. Okay, so that made up for all of that, right?
That's a race.
That does. Thank you for ending on that. You're absolutely right.
But one of the reasons Kanye is his friend is Kanye never tried to rent an apartment from him. So.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I wanted to get to the next subject while we still have time because I'm enjoying.
Irene, where are you?
Conversation.
Is that your bedroom?
Oh yeah. What do you think? I feel like everybody has a nice background, and I'm just sitting in the middle of the floor, aimlessly floating. There's a dresser in the back.
No, it's got layers. You've got depth.
I've got depth and layers. I'm making it pretty for myself. It's bright blue like Greece. I want to feel like I'm on vacation.
Well, it matches your shirt.
Thank you. I wore this for Frank. You won't hear the production, my little Superwoman shirt. So, guys, we saw the Super Bowl. We saw the commercials. Everybody's like, oh, wow, people of color, that's amazing. But is that enough? I don't think it is. What about more people of color, women, diversity in the director's chairs, in production, at the helm?
Mm-hmm.
You're assuming that I watched the Super Bowl. I mean, I haven't watched the Super Bowl since the last time I had a boyfriend. So that would be about 2 years. But I had it on because I felt I had it on. But I didn't watch it. So as far as diversity during the Super Bowl, I would say it's not one of those things that I worry about. I worry more about Black people getting vaccines.
Right. Which is
I think that's the priority. I don't think our story. I think our story told in like a commercial is not as valuable as in an actual movie. We do need to be represented. We do know that the halftime was with.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the broader picture. You know, like
well, if I could make this point, like I do know, like the performer was. I watched that performance and I felt like 78 years old because I was like, I don't know what's going on. Can we get back to Janet Jackson and her nipple?
Her beautiful nipples.
Much better performance, hands down, and it's relevant. I mean, she is at the top of the charts right now, her album. So I don't know, that's where I'm at.
I was hoping that they'd turn the halftime show into an open mic and I could do some time.
I know, me too, Frank.
But then I heard it was a bringer show, so I wasn't able to do that. But the commercial, I never watched the Super Bowl. I'm not.
The commercial.
I'm the kind of person who gets excited about your Superman T-shirt.
Yeah,
I never watched the Super Bowl. I'm a total nerd, but I did see the one commercial, and it really enraged me. Kind of, it pissed me off. Was the Bruce Springsteen Jeep commercial?
Oh my God, Frank! I loved your tweet about that.
It was just so ridiculous. And first of all, admit that you're doing commercial for a fucking Jeep. Don't turn it into this whole inspirational message.
Yeah.
And it's all about the middle. And his example of the middle is Kansas, and it's a church. It's a Christian church in Kansas, and they actually showed on the wall an American flag with a cross in front.
Yes, I couldn't believe
so it was really saying that the middle of the country is Christianity and white Christianity, and that is the official middle that we all need to come through. And I've been saying this for a while. I'm not interested in finding common ground with QAnon people, with people who are to me there isn't like you're like a total racist, you're a white supremacist. Okay, let's talk about it, and I'll try to meet you in Kansas. I'll try to meet you halfway on that. And I just don't believe in that. And to see Springsteen, who a lot of I'm not saying he's bad, because I know a lot of people that I respect love him. I've never really been into him. But
well, he did get arrested for drunk driving, so maybe that's
because,
retribution there.
That was actually a better message, because that was like, the middle is a place where you can swerve all over the road and take in all sides. So that should have been the commercial.
Yeah, it was almost like a commercial for Trump's next campaign. Maybe they'll throw that in there.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed like.
It was very like, hey, everybody who doesn't get along with Trump supporters, you come and meet them. I'm not telling Trump supporters to go any place outside of Kansas. I'm telling all of you to come to Kansas. And I've been to Kansas and I like it, but that was a bullshit message.
And I think I drove past Canvas. I don't know. You know,
Well,
I'm not willing to go to Kansas to discuss anything with somebody I have nothing in common with. Sorry, Bruce.
Was Samuel Jackson, like, what was going on with that? Were those new, like, since they can't be there type commercials where
like
they would virtually
type?
Yeah, those were freaky. I mean, I wasn't really watching, so every time I looked up I saw a hologram of Samuel, and I was like, okay, so they don't want us there.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to represent us, but they'll hologram the shit out of us.
They're doing holograms at what is that Coachella with Tupac. They're doing all these holograms.
Oh, really?
They're bringing them back, sweetie.
It's scary.
I know, it is kind of scary. It is scary, but they are using holograms. So scary. But so sorry, Bruce. You get 3 thumbs down on your goddamn commercial. That's all I have to say. Right? That's it. So now Cuomo, we touched on Cuomo for a hot second before, but he's the America's sweetheart. What is that? I'm getting a little.
You like it, but I'm having a hot flash.
Wow, that's a very elegant hot flash.
I don't look graceful and gorgeous like that when I'm fanning myself with this beautiful patterned fan. I'm more like splashing water in my face and throwing my head out the window. So Cuomo, he was America's sweetheart. Now he's soured everybody. What's going on with that? Frank, what do you think about the cover-up? Tell us what you think about what he's done. Now he's saying that he was following regulations, that it wasn't actually.
This is a guy who literally just published a book written by himself about how great a job he's done during the pandemic. And now it turns out that they underestimated how many people in nursing homes were getting COVID. And also New York has a very high percentage statistically of people who've gotten COVID. It's not like he put it all under control. So I'm glad that there's just to show that I'm capable of being open-minded. I'm glad there's a Democrat that I can talk about how much he sucks, because he does.
Exactly. You're now. You're meeting them in the middle in the Jeep commercial. Good for you.
Right. And anyone that you talk about, whether it's de Blasio or Cuomo, that they really suck. People will say, well, compared to Trump, he's not bad. But that's true. But you shouldn't even think about that, because compared to Trump, Hitler liked dogs, at least, So it's like you can't compare everything to Trump. You have to take people's suckiness on their own terms.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, he was passing the blame. He was saying that he was taking the people that were admitted to hospitals and that were released were going back, and that's how the COVID was spreading. It became a super spreader, but he's saying it was actually the people that were working at these nursing homes that actually were spreading them around. I
just wish that once they would just be honest with us. I don't know why they can't do that. I mean, we learned from the opposite side of this that honesty, even as dumb as Trump was, I don't like saying his name, but that it works. Like in this moment, and I guilty of really liking Cuomo actually early on, because I did like what I thought he was very presentable. He helped me out. He gave me the information I needed. Next to de Blasio, who I cannot stomach, because in interviews, it looks like he's fiddling with a pen. He's drinking coffee when people are asking questions. I don't know what he's doing. He's sorting papers. I don't know if he went to like the school of like politician and interview land. It's like, make sure you're doing something or something. But it's like
disinterested.
But with Cuomo, it's disappointing that he's choosing to be political. But I do say this. I do think that it's the fallout from what Trump has done. And there was so much miscommunication and so much misinformation that everybody failed on some level. It just took him to be honest about it. I mean, he said that nursing homes have always had problems. We know that. I've gone to nursing homes and I've seen the problems there. But I think if he had just admitted, and he did recently, he did this week say it was a mistake. But I just think he needs to go a little bit further and not be so arrogant about it.
Exactly. Don't be so hubris, the downfall. And also be honest, like you said, tell the truth, because we're not getting that honesty that we need. And it makes you feel this sense of hopelessness again. We're trying to start with a baseline, a foundation of honesty. You're right. And, just be honest. The world is more forgiving than you know. But when you're caught in a lie and you stay with that lie,
I think that there's some of that, I'll say on Biden's behalf, is I think his administration is addressing a lot of this honestly. They're really like telling people, this is still a really bad situation. And, they're not saying that it's going to magically go away when the weather gets warmer or to inject bleach into your veins. They're so I give them credit for that.
Yeah, well, you know what? Hopefully he digs a little deeper. There's still time to be, sincere and come out and address the public. Okay, so we are kind of coming to the end of the hour, and this is my favorite part.
What, you tell us what's in that barrel behind you?
I want to talk about best friends.
Wait, before
Let me tell you about my best friend. He's a warm-hearted person who loved me till the end.
Wait, what the hell was that? That was so.
Did you see what happened there? We're trying to end on a fuzzy note. We don't want a schizophrenic format anymore. We're trying to be a little bit more organized.
But what happened? I saw it for like 2 seconds. I don't get to address it.
Okay, Bobby, you need to replay that. I want Marina
Bobby, play it again.
People, let me tell you about my best friend. He's a warm-hearted person who loved me till the end.
Yay! So you should let I don't want to direct it, but you should let, after you do it, you should have us talk over it.
No, I seriously want you to direct it. That's one of the topics that we were brought into the freaking show today, Marina. Absolutely direct it. Marina, okay. I was always touched with the fact that, you have this deep love for Isis. And I think that female friendships are so important. I also have people that I care about. And Frank, I don't know if you have a best friend or per se best friends. Now, Marina, I just love to talk about this because it's important to have that bond in your life. So I just want to know how long you've known Isis, who is your best friend, correct?
Isis is my best friend. I've known her since college, since my junior year in college. I saw her. She's Puerto Rican. I had never really seen anyone that looked like her. Chicago, Illinois, University of Illinois. So believe it or not, even in college, they would segregate us. And so I saw her going in the wrong entrance and I was like, what a beautiful color she has. I've never seen that before. I had never seen such a beautiful, brown. Yeah. And of course, being the woman that I am, instead of saying, hey, I like you, you look amazing and all that, I was like, you're going in the wrong entrance.
That's a good icebreaker.
Yeah, that's a good icebreaker. Making her feel, debasing. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So that's how it started. And then I would make fun of her. And then she would come to Soul Food Night and
What's Soul Food Night? I love it.
We had Soul Food Night in the dorms where they would serve soul food in the cafeteria. Yum. And so to be honest, this was the first time that like I said, they segregated us. And I had grown up in white neighborhoods. So this was the first time I got to hang out with Black women like me. And I guess what Isis pointed out, because she was there, that I was doing my Black voice. She called me out. I was doing it. I felt like I was fine and everything. And all of a sudden I see this look across the table. She's like, I want you all to know that is not how Marina talks. So we became best friends. I mean, like, and we would go to, spring break. We would do things. And back in Chicago, like our fathers were very similar. Her father was like one of the first judges in Chicago. And
wow.
My dad,
I didn't know that. Seriously? Whoa.
Raymond Figueroa. And then my dad was like a really big businessman. So my dad knew her dad in that way. And my dad would go over to her house and sit with her mother. And, and I knew her whole family. She knows my whole family. But it was just one of those things.
After you were really good friends, or is this like, were they friends and then you guys became friends? They knew each other after you guys were friends? After we were friends,
okay. Yeah. And so it's just like one of those things where, those people that you just don't have to explain anything to. You can have the most inappropriate jokes with, and no one's offended. We used to sleep. We used to curl up together. We used to sleep in bed together and just hold each other. Her boyfriend would be like, "What is going on?" And we've been friends for 20-something years.
Wow.
20 over.
Does she live here in New York now, or is she still in Chicago?
She is still in Chicago. She lives in Illinois, and she was really upset when I left for New York. But
yeah, that must have been really hard. Now, how often do you guys get to see each other? Best friends are very special to me. How often do you get to see each other?
Well, when there wasn't a pandemic, at least for the holidays,
right?
But not that often. I mean, we could go a long time without not talking and just pick right up.
I think that's a very common thing with great friendships is you don't see someone for a long time, and then the minute you get back together, it just picks up. There's no like, oh, we have to catch up with you. It just goes right back to where it was the last time you saw her.
You're absolutely right. And your best friend is like your identity. Like I had my best friend in the world married me, and then I married her for her wedding. So we married each other. And it's like we were so close. She was like, I want to say like almost a soulmate. And now we're not really close. And I honestly feel like and I know this sounds really weird, but it feels like a breakup I never got over. You know what I mean? It's really crazy. We were so close for so many years. It was like Irene and I'm going to say her name, Irene and Chrissy. It was Chrissy and Irene. I'd be invited to a wedding. She would be my +1. She would be invited to a wedding. I would be her +1. Everybody knew that we were best friends. You know what I mean? We referred to each other as best friends. It's such a special bond to have somebody that you're so close to that. And I remember when we weren't close anymore, I still feel like this, and I'm on Facebook Live talking about it. I'm sorry, but it's the way that I feel. Okay.
Do you want me to stop you? Stop.
No, please stop me. Please do.
I'll tell you this.
Did you ever have the conversation with Isis about being best friends?
I was going to say, even best friends have those moments where they have real fights where they cannot talk. We've had a fight where we didn't talk for a whole year because my friend Isis, which is something you cannot say in an airport, right? She is like, she lies a lot. I don't know. She's just a liar. She I don't know I forgot what that condition is. No, it's not hypercon, but she lies, perpetual lies, just to manipulate situations. And one time she did it, and it was at my expense. We did not talk because I had it out with her. I said, "I'm so sick of your lies. You told me your mom was picking me up and your sister was picking me up. You knew that if your mom was picking me up, I'd be ready." And that's why I ran downstairs. She manipulates like that. It's real insanity. So, but I was my one day off from work. And I was so tired. I just wanted to hang out normal. We didn't talk for the whole year. And it was painful. Wow. But when we did regroup and we did get back together, we really talked about what that was. And then we just picked up from where you got to have that conversation.
Yeah.
Irene.
You do, and I do, and I've tried, Marina. I have, and you know when you have like your best friend, it's like you always have somebody in your corner. No matter what you're doing, that person is always Team Irene, Team Marina. Frank, any best friends in your timeline of life other than me?
Other than you, I have a few really good friends. Someone who people watching the show might know, who's been my dear friend for like since 1986. She literally gave me my first non-open mic comedy spot. Is Liz Winstead.
Oh, I like Liz.
Yeah, I met her when I was just an open micer in Minneapolis. She was already a headliner, and she saw me perform, and she said, "Oh, you're funny. Why don't you be in my show this weekend?" And then that was like my first weekend, like real comedy show. That wasn't an open mic.
And you still like her, huh?
We're still really good friends. So, we go a long time without seeing each other. In the pandemic, we haven't seen much. But she's who I was talking about when I say it just picks up the minute we get back together. Like everything is the same.
Right.
And also the fact that that she literally discovered me. I mean, I always tell people Liz discovered me, and that puts me in good company. That puts me in company with Rachel Maddow and Stephen Colbert. So
that's amazing.
Great. Yeah.
I like that you guys said, I always felt that if you don't see somebody that you're really close to, like your best friend, like Isis, or for a while, you just pick up where you left off. To me, that is a true sign of closeness and friendships, because time has no bearing on that relationship. However, I remember somebody was questioning me, and I felt like this is where it went south with Christy, one of her friends, which I always thought this woman was jealous. You always have the jealous friends that are jealous of the friendship when you have the best friend, okay? And I feel like this girl was, and she said to me, well, how often do you see her and talk to her? And at that time, we weren't really talking and communicating that much. And I said, and Chrissy was standing there, and she goes, well, practically, we don't really see each other that often. And then she said, well, then, and you're best friends? And I remember thinking, fuck you. All right. Yeah, we still are. Yeah. Okay. Well, you don't have to see somebody every single day. Anyway.
Well, if you wanted to end the show on a negative note, instead of asking about best friends, you could say, who are the best friends that you've tried to undermine in your life?
Oh my God. Okay. And that's for our next show.
So many.
I think that's going to be for the next show. Marina.
Irene.
Love you. Thank
what
you
is
so
in that
much
thing behind you? I need to know.
What, you want me to take you there? What is it? I'm going to take you guys there. I'm all wired up. I'm like do this.
I'm one of those people. I like to snoop. Okay. So I'm so curious.
Let's snoop for a second. Let's do this. Okay. So do you see what's going on here?
Yes.
There's my bureau.
That's a bureau. Is there a story behind that bureau? Or
bureau. Look at that. That's like a huge nightstand. I'm a hoarder. I need to get rid of shit. Okay. I've got an illness. It's gross and it's disgusting. I have stuff still with like tags on it that I've never used. That it's just disgusting.
I don't believe you. There's too much echo for that.
Well, what about this? Look at this. Can you see? Oh shoot! I just dropped the mic. Can you hear me?
I love Irene. This is why I did this, because I wanted to see this happen.
Okay, this. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, I love you so much.
I love you so much.
You gotta let people see this when you do this.
Tell everybody all about you, girl. All about you. Where can they see you? Tell them about your awesome podcast, Friends Like Us.
Yeah, so Friends Like Us. I'm wearing the hoodie, so you can see.
Oh, nice.
We sell merch. That's me.
Let me see it. Oh my God, I love that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So where can we get that? I want one.
Just go to my website, Marina. You get one for free, Irene, because you've been on the show. Well, not the hoodie. That's too expensive.
Okay, not the hoodie.
But the t-shirt I can send to you. Just send me your address. Friends Like Us is available on all platforms. Apple Podcasts. You go to my website, though, marinafranklin.com. We feature women of color talking about trending topics. And once a month, we have a white, which Irene was there.
I've been the scoop. I've been the white vanilla.
Or once a month, we have a guy. It's like our period. And also, But we have some really great guests, and this pandemic, we actually pivoted. Instead of just, focusing on the round table of just comedians, we have solution-based oriented people. So we've had, Kids Off the Block, Diane Latker, who was a CNN hero, who talks about getting kids off the street and educating them. We also had Drew Dixon on. That's the episode that's coming out this week that I'm really proud of. Drew Dixon is the one who outed Russell Simmons for sexual assault.
Oh.
So on the record on HBO Max, I recommend you see it if you have HBO Max. So, and then I have a comedy show this Thursday. So you just go to marinafranklin.com. It's only $5 tickets.
All right.
I love you, Marina. Thank you for being here.
Love you.
Love you guys.
Frank, okay, so we're back.
Black
Stronger
Lives
than
Matter.
ever.
Thank you,
I want to
Marina.
also thank our new bye, sweetie. Love you. Oh, that was so much fun. Okay, Frank, that was fun. Did you have fun?
She's awesome. What can you say? She's so
we
great.
can't go wrong with Marina, and I can't go wrong with you either. And we can't go wrong with Bobby, who is at the helm, producing our show, making sure things work out seamlessly. Mr. Strong Island TV. We can be found on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Apple Pod, and all places where podcast lives, because we're that fierce with Bobby at the helm. We will be back next Tuesday. See you next Tuesday. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
Every
and we want to go.
I'm live. And Frank, tell everybody where they can see your next Mads.
The next show that Trace Beaulieu and I do, our Mystery Science Theater live streaming riffing show, it will be on March 9th, Tuesday, March 9th at 8 p.m. We're doing a riff of the classic movie Phantom from Space, which is exactly what you think. And if you like to read, my book, You're Ruining the Dystopia for Everyone, is available at Amazon along with my other books.
I mean, honestly, I highly recommend his books. They're so brilliant, so funny, and quick reads. Okay, so no excuses. You can get through this book fast. Okay, and also, what can I say about myself? Just follow me on Instagram at Irene Bremis. Follow us on Instagram at Mother May I Podcast. On Twitter at Irene Bremis 13, and we will be back next week with an all new guest. We have Lisa Berry, actress extraordinaire. You've seen her on Continuum. She's on Netflix series Bad Blood, and she's a badass. So make sure to tune in next week. We love you, Frank. I love you, buddy.
Irene.
Mwah. Thank you for joining us.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Mother May I podcast with Frank and Irene on Strong Island Entertainment. Check us out next week when Frank and Irene sit down with, you know what? I don't know what these two are going to do next, but we'll see you next week.